guys, my name is Jalapapeno and we're back in Random Drawing Adventures. Now I set this at 2 times speed, so it should be only half, like about 8 minutes. And here we go. Here's our main character. And I tried to draw some a nice mouth for him, and then it turned out to be really big lips. I'm like, I don't want him to be a woman, so he just gets a little smiley face. And his distinguishing factor is his boots. Now I forget to draw his boots in one of the things, but yeah. Yeah, he was in the army, and in the army they used giant crowns to fight their foes. And they only used giant crowns because they had to fight the giant paper monsters who had very sharp teeth to paper cut you. And I don't know why there were such big gaps in the lines. When I was drawing, it looked fine, but when I look back at the recording, there were big gaps, and I didn't want to redraw it all. So they used their crowns to attack the giant paper monsters. There we go. So after, yeah, there's Steven. I had to distinguish his name. Okay, yeah, so I'm thinking about what to draw here. There's Steven. He's very happy. And while he was in the army, he had a bunch of friends in the army too. Well, not really friends, but companions, who teamed up with him to fight the giant paper monsters. And they all were very angry for some reason. And they all had to throw their giant crowns at the giant paper monsters to attack them, because that attack was super effective. But they had a secret weapon because they were losing in the war, and they needed someone to help them defeat the giant paper monsters. So Steven had an old lifetime friend that he met in college one day, and he had a terrible experiment happen to him. His name was Disformed Man. I forget his name. Deformed Man. There we go. And he was really big. So he used his giant foot to stomp on the papers, and they were very sad. Yeah, and there's dead paper on the ground. He was so big, and he was killing them with his stepping powers. So, yeah, all the papers died, and they had really weird mouths, so their tongues came out of the side of their mouths. And eventually, they went extinct. So we had to give them a proper time and say, "Rip in peace, papers. Rip in peace. ... Yeah, so after they had won the war and the papers went extinct, Steven, he starts to like stand on one of the papers, crumpled bodies, and they promoted him to be a 5-star general. There's 1 star, 2 star, 3 star, 4 star, and 5-star generals. And they were like, 10 out of 10, would hire again. Yeah. So Steven decided to settle down in his yard. Well, he found a nice little modest house, and in his yard were some yellow flowers. And it was just a 1-story house with a giant roof and a door. And he was very happy. And he said, "'Tis my house. 'Tis is my house." And yeah, woo, happy. I should do a video where it shows you what my voice sounds like when it's sped up at 2 times. It's very funny. So the papers had to strike back somehow. Even though they were extinct, they had an old friend, the giant Moose Man. who's very not happy at Steven, who became a 5-star general for killing his people. So he got a giant bucket filled with lava, and he poured it on top of Steven's house. Oh no! Now I wanted to like draw this bigger, but I didn't. So it's really small. And Steven's house was on fire! Oh no, the fire had a lot of colors! Look at that! Woo! So they needed to destroy this giant moose man, so Steven had to have one of his other friends face off from the giant moose man. Woo! The moose man was still not happy after he burned down Steven's house. So Steven's friend, Deformed Man, came to the rescue. And they're going to have a little skirmish. And Deformed Man's head got a little more squashed. So Deformed Man hit the Moose Man. And then Moose Man hit Deformed Man. And they all started bleeding. But then Deformed Man cut off Moose Man's antler. Look at that. Because he had a giant shank shield thing. It was gonna be a shank, but then it turned out to be really big, so I called it a shield. So Moose Man hit the shield and it didn't do anything. So Deformed Man cut off Moose Man's head. And then Moose Man got really small because I found out how to use the tool. And because yeah. So after the skirmish, Steven was saved. And Deformed Man got turned smaller because of a kind wizard in the area. And he was finally the size of some of the other people. So Steven was very happy with him, and he looked at him and he winked with his right eye apparently. And he said, "Yay!" because they were all happy because Deformed Man was actually not a giant anymore. And that's what he wanted all of his life. And there's the little wizard. And he says, "Magics." So I wanted kind of like a little outro thing after this, but it turned out to be something different. There we go, I'm just writing my name. Jalapapeno. 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 And I started drawing a pepper. Because people usually call me jalapeno for some reason. I have no idea why. And then I got crazy with the fill tool, and I was like, ooh, I can turn different colors. So my name is Jalapapeno, this is Drawing with Justin.